guys, welcome to Xbox On. So I'm here with David Hine, who is the producer of Life is Strange Before the Storm. Hi David.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well.
Good,
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. So we wanted to talk a little bit, obviously, about Before the Storm.
Yeah,
so I'm a huge Life is Strange fan, so I am incredibly excited for this. But to start with, obviously, there's no powers in Before the Storm. You know, there's no rewind. So how do you think lovers of Life is Strange are going to be able to take this sort of permanent decision mechanic?
Yeah, so we don't have a rewind power. There's no power at all. The reason why we did this was, we looked at it and it wouldn't really have made a lot of sense, right? We sort of know some of the details if you've played the first game about Rachel, and so it's likely not the case that she has a power. It's also likely the case that Chloe doesn't have a power. It just wouldn't have really made sense in the story. And so, A, it didn't make sense, but then B, the other thing here was that what Life is Strange is really about is relatable characters facing real-world issues. And so that's what we really wanted to focus on, was these meaningful characters with meaningful choices that stick with you long after the credits roll. And so I think there's more than enough for fans of the original Life is Strange to be at home with this game as well.
Absolutely, cool. So obviously we know how Before the Storm is going to end if, we played Life is Strange. What is it like creating a story where, you already know where it's going to go?
So, you won't, I promise. And
yeah.
The reason why, so we set the events of Life is Strange Before the Storm 3 years prior. And so the events of this game will wrap up long before the events of the original game. And so there's plenty of time for all sorts of things to develop that might not, be the case still at the end of Before the Storm as well. And the reason why this was important to us is so that we could tell a story that even the most dedicated Life is Strange fan is not going to know what's going to happen at all, and you're going to be surprised by what you see and the choices that you have to make, and it's going to stick with you, and it's going to be really difficult.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, super excited. So obviously Chloe and Max are very different characters. What was it like writing and making a game having Chloe in the lead instead of Max?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. I mean, Max was, cautious. She would second guess herself. That's why Rewind was a really great power for her, because, she would kind of second guess, and it gave her that option to do that. Chloe's not that. Chloe's a wrecking ball. Chloe doesn't care what you think at all. And so it's a lot of fun at times, because we kind of get to channel our inner 16-year-old and just have a lot of fun with it. And so I think it's not just about the fun of it as well, it's also about looking at kind of the more somber nature of Chloe's character as well. So this is much closer to the death of her father, and she's still dealing with that grief and that depression. And a lot of what this game is exploring is that she's not okay, and that sometimes it's okay to not be okay.
So in Before the Storm, I had a little presentation yesterday. Chloe does have her own sort of ability. So she has the argument, the backtalking mechanic.
Yeah.
So can you tell us just a little bit more about that, what that is?
So we've been demoing backtalk at Gamescom. This is the first time that we're showing it off. And it's, should be noted, it's not meant to be a replacement for Rewind or anything like that. It's not really a superpower or anything like that. It's a dialogue system that we've crafted specifically for Chloe Price. She's very witty. She's got a great handle on banter, and so it's all about using that wit and that sharp tongue to sort of disarm your opponents in a way. So, one of the examples that we showed off was she's trying to get inside the mill to see this concert, and the bouncer doesn't want to let her in. And so she's got to kind of use her wit and her charm to make him laugh so that he kind of, well, all right, I'll let you in. And so it's not really about winning or losing. It's just kind of another layer of consequence. So, if she's unable to kind of backtalk the bouncer, she'll have to find another way to get inside.
So it's going to have a big impact on sort of the tree dialogue.
Yeah, it's every single opportunity of backtalk is going to split off the branches and the paths again. It's just another manifestation of choices and consequences. And
it's going to feel so much more intense because you can't rewind if you think, oh no, I should have said that
yep,
instead. You've got to go with whatever decision
There's no
you made.
rewind, so your choices you're stuck with them this time.
Oh no, stressful. Yeah. So obviously, fans of Life is Strange are going to rush out and play this and be super excited to find out more about Chloe. What would you say to people that haven't played Life is Strange, the original? Like, what should entice them to get in and play Before the Storm?
I think the most enticing thing about Life is Strange Before the Storm is just kind of what I've already talked about, is this real story about relatable characters dealing with complex, difficult problems and issues. There's not a person on the planet who hasn't dealt with grief in some way, depression in some way, the loss of a loved one. I mean, these are timeless things that's part of the human condition. And so it's a tremendous pressure and a tremendous privilege to be able to kind of deal with these deep pieces of what it means to be a human being, and to get to explore those through a game is a really rewarding opportunity.
And as a fan of Life is Strange, you should definitely go and play it anyway, because it's amazing.
Well, and it should be noted, so we've designed it so that, you know, if you've played the first game or if you haven't played the first game, we're not going to spoil anything from the original Life is Strange and Before the Storm, and we're also not expecting that you have played it. And so there'll be fun, you know, sort of Easter egg things and, you know, different stuff for fans of the original game, but you can play either one of these first and don't have to worry about getting anything spoiled.
Brilliant. So something else we wanted to do with you, David, today is there is obviously lots of slang in Life is Strange. Hella lot of slang.
There's hella slang.
There's hella slang. We were wondering if we could ask you some slang words, and if you could, you might already know what they are, but if you don't, you can just maybe guess what they might mean.
Yeah, totally.
So some of them are, I think, sort of generic. Some of them are more British slang words.
Okay.
So I think this is definitely more generic. If something's lit.
Something is lit. It's like really, it's cool. It's like, oh, that party last night was lit.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Turnt.
Turnt. I've heard it before. I don't know what it means.
Gonna have to guess. I'm gonna have to get a guess, David.
It was crazy. Like, oh, that was weird, or.
Ooh, or not quite. It's when you get you know, have a bit to drink. And you get turned.
Okay, you get turned. Okay.
I mean, I don't know why it's turned. I'm way out of touch with the youth culture these
days. Is that
like
shwasted?
What's shwasted?
It's like when you get like crazy. I mean, like wasted, but like shwasted.
I've never heard shwasted before. I'm gonna bring that in. I'm gonna get shwasted. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So next thing, buffting.
Buffting.
Buffting. That's quite a British slang, I think.
Yeah, that's gotta be. Oh, jeez. Is it like boasting? I don't know.
It's a good guess. It's actually when someone is really attractive. So buff is good looking, and ting is thing but said slang. So buffting. So next time you wanna, you know, compliment someone's looks, just make sure to tell them that they're a buffting.
A buffting.
Okay, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Peng.
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 I'm not very good at this, am I?
It's hard when you're just given like a word with no context. I'll give it context.
Yeah.
Actually, if I give it context, I totally just give it away.
All right. Let's see. Expensive.
It's a good guess. I could have said actually it's quite similar to the last one. If someone someone is again a good-looking person. I don't think peng sounds very attractive though.
Yeah, no, I would never want to call someone that.
Yeah, like it sounds like it's
sounds like
offensive.
I would insult. Yeah, insult them.
You're very peng. like what? Well, no. So okay, last one.
Okay.
Butters.
Butters.
Butters. Again, that is super British slang.
Oh gosh. You're killing me with the British slang.
I know, it's hard. So this again is a description of someone.
Is that they're overweight?
Oh, not overweight. It's that they are an unattractive person.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they're butters, you're being not very nice. Opposite of peng.
Yep. There you go. Okay.
There we go. So you got one. David.
1 of 5.
1 of 5.
Oh, that's a failure.
That was a failure. Yeah. You failed the life.
Well, but I added my own. I added shwasted in there.
Shwasted. So I'll give you 2.
Do I get like a half a point for that?
You get half. Okay, 1.5 points on the slang test.
Great.
David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Great chatting to you.
Yeah.
Don't forget, guys, that Life is Strange Before the Storm's first episode is out on August 31st. So that's very soon. That's next week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.